So I'm very happy and I'm very excited because this break series is coming to an end, actually, to be welcoming after almost a month here in Spain, Claudia Udrescu, who comes from Romania, in my podcast, Good Stories. And it is one of those not just good stories, one of those amazing stories that have to do with words. So when we talk about stories and words and, things that come together, it's like your planet basically is coming next to my planet and we're actually,
Yeah, and we are not colliding, we are working together.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This is an amazing, and you have had an amazing journey, and you're also bringing to life your project, which is Invisible Stories, and I want to learn more about it. I want to learn about you, your journey, and your stories.
Me, my journey, my stories. Okay, thank you, Elpida, for having me, because I really think it's great. I mean, it's almost 1 month together, almost, but I just start missing ourselves together, working on the project and exchanges,
Yes.
exchanging things. Wow, yeah. Invisible stories, it is because we all have a hidden story, an invisible one. And we need to have goosebumps when I say that, because I really believe that every one of us has an invisible story that has to be made visible. It's what
I have
makes
chills
us-
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because it's about who we are, and it's about who I am. I mean, the real one,
Yes.
And that's a place where I want to go when we write together our stories, because that's what I'm doing. My project, it's about how we can co-create together, how we write together in order that we bring together to the world your story, which is your gift. My goodness, again?
Again.
Yeah. Thank you for asking me. I mean, it's really important, and I think we will inspire people to do the same.
Yes.
Because we learn from our failures, we learn from our mistakes, we learn from everything. So, and basically what I want to do through my project is go into the deeper, I don't know how to call this, deeper us, deeper person,
Yes.
deep inside of myself or yourself. Whereas something Italian will call io tessitore, which is the self who writes without the inner critic telling you're
Yes.
not good enough, you're an imposter,
Yes.
you don't write well, or something like that. So this is the place which is invisible, and we need to go there to write better stories and to write our true story, because I connect with you through emotions. I don't connect with you because I say, well, I write for a living, or that's simple things.
Yes,
I
I'm not
connect with Elpida. Elpida connects to Claudia, and vice versa, because of our stories.
I'm not a ghostwriter, it's like we co-create a story basically that could be like my story. It can be also my business story. It can be the
Exactly.
story, actually, what has brought me down to this path. And I think I told you like the other day, and I gave it to you as it wasn't a compliment, but this is like something that comes up every single time. You give, I think I said you give meaning to words.
You say more than that. You say you give life to words. We
You give
never forget
life-
it.
Yes, you
Thank
give
you.
life to words. That's exactly what I said. And for me, this is something very important, because life has to do with, everything that connects us, everything that creates, it's everything basically. Life is everything. And you managed to do this. And I want you to tell me, for example, how does one write his own story? Tell me about yours, first of all.
My story. Oh God, yeah. Mine started. My project started in a way 5 years ago when I left the university. I was a professor, university professor, and a vice dean also. So I was a university professor for 20 years, and I need to leave because I was bullied, and it was very toxic for me.
Of course.
And I decided to leave after staying too long. So please, if you ever are bullied at work, just leave. Go away, because it's not for you, and it impacts the health. I mean, the physical health. Don't speak about the mental health, okay? So when I left the university, I was really, really down, because It was a career change, an identity change. So I'm not a professor. Who am I?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like, because we put labels. This is another
Yes.
thing. We put labels on ourselves. Like you say, I'm a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. You are a lawyer and much more than that. But because we are defining in a way ourselves as being
Yes.
professors,
Lawyers, doctors, yes.
writers. It's
Yes.
just when you change this, because life is about change, in my opinion. When you change this, it's a big question. Who am I? So I was not aware about this. I mean, now for me it's very clear going backwards. But a former student asked me, why did I leave the university? So I need to write in an article form. And I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? Because it's tough. And I was crying and writing at the same time. It took me 3 months to put it together, because I was crying every time I was writing about why I left and my students, and I think that really I healed when I didn't cry anymore when I was writing. So this was the first piece. And after I love stories. I mean, I'm the one, as a former colleague said, you can talk about it day and night, as you see, right? Because you asked me.
You're in the right place, by the way,
Thank
to
you.
talk about it.
Do you have time?
Yeah.
And also because she said, but you are just staying like this and listening to stories all day long. So it's something I discovered later on, but I think I discovered it because I had the courage and I took action, going away from this place, a very toxic place where I used to be for too many years, 20 years, which is a lot. And I stayed because of the stories I was telling to myself. I need to show people that I'm able to do that. I have 2 PhD because one was not good enough.
Yeah.
You know?
I relate to that thing.
Yeah, I know you do. Don't do it. I mean, one is enough, please.
One is enough, yes, it's true.
We don't need
Yeah.
kids, but this is another story.
Yeah, this is like about, academical validation of who you are. And it's like, and I think this is going to be our next podcast, actually.
Yeah. I think we need to do one, because there are so many people, great people, exceptional, genius people,
Yes.
giving up the PhD because of the bullying environment.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to do
I
that.
have to say that I had a similar experience, and I have lived in such an environment, and it pains me to say that so many people are, going to a workplace where they work for 8 hours or even longer, and they're being bullied, traumatized, dealt in a very disrespectful manner. And I feel that this is a culture that has to change, and nobody really has found the courage to speak up, because they're like, oh yes, but I'm going to lose my job. No, you have to set an example actually for other people. Would you like your son or your daughter or your child actually to go through such a painful procedure? Why are we allowing these environments in our lives? I was in the banking industry, and I was so bullied and so diminished and so put down, like in my everyday work, in my value, and this is something that keeps happening, and people are slowly recognizing these patterns and are saying, you know what? I do not accept this. I cannot live like this. Because first and foremost, we need to choose ourselves, our mental health, our words, as you very wisely say. Yeah, and our stories. What is the story that we want to leave behind? What is our legacy? How have we lived?
Exactly. There is a very beautiful platform I love to watch. It's a project, I think, in America based. It's Sounds True. It's a very big thing. And they are, I heard a very short series about storytelling, and they were saying that we connect one with each other through stories. I mean, but through those very vulnerable and powerful stories, as the one we were talking about, the one of being bullied. Because I was bullying recently, unfortunately, at my last job, and I didn't have the courage to write about it yet, because what people will say, should I find another job? Or, it's like,
yes,
it's so powerful. And I had physical reactions. I was really, of course I went in therapy, but I was physical reaction. It was so strong again after many years since I wasn't being bullied anymore. So it's And as you say, what I think it's the most painful thing is that attacks day by day your self-confidence.
Yes.
And I knew it, and I just tried to fight it. And the break saved me in a way, because I resigned to come to the break. But also that I knew something bigger or different was expecting for me after that period.
I think it affected me for sure. It affected me physically. I went through a very, literally a nervous breakdown. I went through a shitstorm, basically. I would not wish that to my worst enemy out there.
Yeah.
And I really relate to this story because it has been my story as well. And unfortunately, it's not just my story or your story. It's like a story like of most people actually out there and around the world. Bullied at school, bullied in the professional environment, bullied like in so many different places. Yeah, in university. In faculties. Can you imagine that? And like where exactly, should be a cradle of knowledge and should be a cradle of, support and community.
And development and growth.
No, and it's not. And I wanted to also talk to you about, again, let's go back to your project. Let's go back to Invisible Stories. Let's go back to because this is your child and it came through labor, basically.
Yeah, it was September 3 years ago during the pandemic. And it has a story behind, which is a sad one, because I should have met my colleagues from the school that week. And after 30 years.
Yes.
So it was something I was really expecting, and suddenly we found out that one of our colleagues passed away. We were 45 at the time, all of us, or almost all of us. And I was like, oh my God, how long do I live on this earth? Because you never know. It could have been any one of us. Mm-hmm. And I recall that night I think it was end of August or something, or no, beginning of September. And I said, okay, I couldn't sleep overnight. And I thought, because I was loving the storytelling part, but I didn't know how to put it. And suddenly, after this night of thinking and being very sad because my colleague passed away in Archis, he was sending me stories, by the way, because he was Armenian. So it's something I need to say, I need to see there, what's there. And I said, okay, this morning I need to put the project out to life, because I don't know if in 10 years time, because you need to wait, and you say to yourself, we need to know more, learn more, write more or something in order to give birth. Yeah. But a child usually took.
Yeah, it's like 9 months. Pops
out, right? So it popped out. And this is how it started. And this is how, and after this break, I'm really grateful for this project we are in together, because I had this about the invisible stories we have, because it's how we can translate our invisible, intangible stories, which is unique, to visible, to what we offer to the world, and it's a gift, I think. So that's why I'm really happy that we discussed today, because it's after the labor I had, a very, very short one during the break. 1 week, like in the fairy tales, 1 week as others do in 9 months.
Yes.
And I really think it's powerful, because
I can't wait actually to. First of all, I want to.
That's how it started.
I wish and I hope that we can work together and create powerful stories with Enable Good and say who we are actually in this world and what we want to bring into this world.
Yeah.
And through our uniqueness and our vulnerability, and that I believe is the biggest strength, as Brené Brown actually mentions, and to stop just going out there and saying, oh my God, I did it. I'm so super powerful. I'm the best. I'm this, I'm that. I want to, to know people that, we struggle. We relate.
A lot.
We have challenges along the way. And you know what? Most importantly, there is a community, actually. It just takes time sometimes to find it, or the right place that will hold your hand and support you through your journey, see you, hear you, and relate to you and actually embrace you.
Yeah, that's what I find here, and I just want to add something, if I may, because it's very important about the stories. Why this invisible story we have? Because we are telling us many stories. Because we were told stories.
Yes.
Be a good girl, which is really powerful. Be the wise. Be the, in the school, in the family, in the society, cultural. It's cultural everywhere. So we have, like, now we believe, many of us believe that those stories we were told when we were kids, it's not a story that fits us anymore. That's why this invisible, because we need to rewrite our story. We need to relive it or to bring it in other words to the world. Also, we tell stories to others. Who I am professionally, yeah? I need to make up a story for this, for myself or for these professional reasons. Yeah, and we are telling our stories, which is the most powerful thing, and this is where we need really to be aware of the words we are using, because I can tell myself I need 10 more degrees to start to have this dream, to make it real.
Yes.
I
relate to this. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, very much. And I think that you said something very powerful over here, and you said we need to rewrite our story.
Yeah.
And on that note, I will say a huge thank you. I will give you a big hug.
Thank
and
you,
it has been an honor and a privilege to meet with you. And I cannot wait to share more stories with you.